Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, March 20. Here for the Governance and Priorities Committee meeting here. I get the privilege to chair the meeting. Our mayor and deputy is joining us via Zoom. So I'll call the meeting to order at 9 a.m. And then we have a very special item because as the first item of the day, we were privileged to get some gold stars last meeting, but Councillor Clark was not here. So it's his time to shine, I guess. Oh, maybe I should.
No, I already have. This is Collins Day.
On your chest. Thank you for that, Mr. Vincent. Sometimes, you need something like that for boost you up. Next, I think we will have a couple of closed session items. So in order for us to go there, I guess we need to have a motion in place. Who would like to make a motion to go on closed?
I will make the motion that we move into closed section per FOIP section 16 subsection 1.
Perfect. Thank you, Councillor Clark. Okay. All in favor? Can Monica and Nancy hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay. We just had a motion. Just need a yay or a nay.
Yay.
Thank you. Is Nancy there? Okay. I think we have quorum. Thank you for that. Yes, we are in close right now and items. Right. Somebody can make a motion to come out of closed for me.
I'll make the motion that we come out of closed at 10:08.
Thank you, Councillor Evans. All in favor? Monica?
Yes, in favor.
Thank you. Okay, now we are. So we have three administrative items. The first one is 3.1 2025 quarter one report. I believe it's Mr. Vincent.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Very pleased to present the first quarter report to you, Council. It's divided up into a number of sections for your convenience. The first section, of course, is the report from the CEO's office, and we provide a list of accomplishments and achievements that have been achieved in the first quarter. Just want to reemphasize that the executive team and the management team is a group of very dedicated and conscientious employees who have committed themselves in serving the residents of our community. So the one major accomplishment that I point out, of course, is Council's strategic priorities, which were approved last Wednesday. That's a fantastic achievement. So very proud to highlight that. Also falling under the CEO's office includes human resources, Unfortunately, our manager is away and did not have a chance to complete a report, so that report will be included in next quarter. We have the communication summary that Ms. Stone has provided. So this is the period of January 1st to March 4th. And you have the executive summary, the number of key accomplishments, the performance metrics and analytics, some challenges, and the upcoming priorities and next steps for that particular department. And it's very interesting to note that on page 60 of the agenda package, the page profile and reach across social networks is 177,814. I think the efforts in communicating is being well responded to, and that we're doing a terrific job in terms of getting information out to the public and public engagement. And finally is the health and safety quarterly report. And of course, we certainly recognized our core study and review and the success that we joined there. So I'll stop at that particular point and see if there's any questions or any clarifications from any member of the committee on that section of the reports.
Thank you, Mr. Vincent. Any questions from the council? One thing I'll mention, I loved the post about potholes. That was a fantastic post. So a post like that would, really engage the community. And, kudos to the communication team and Shelley as well, for getting that out there.
I understand there might be another post. I don't know if it's going to be today or soon. That I won't give it away, but I think it'll be something along the lines that what we saw yesterday, but is even more creative and I think it'll draw a very good public response.
Yeah, and I'm sure you may have thought about it already, but when I read through the comments there were some suggestions. We don't know we are already doing that or not. Maybe have those engagements saying, because it seems like there's some subject experts out there that could help us out. If that's the case, why don't we get their input as well? And maybe we are already doing what they're proposing, or maybe it's not doable. That's why we are not doing it, right? So I was just thinking that how we could engage in that fashion as well. Anything else?
Absolutely. Great.
Okay, perfect.
With that, Mr. Chair, move on to corporate services, Q1 report. And certainly the biggest effort has been toward the year-end audit and preparation of the financial statements. And if I am correct, I believe that's going to be presented at the last regular meeting in April. Forget what the date is off the top of my head, but we've the auditors were in the office for a week. I met with them and did the CEO interview, and they have some questions. A number of questions are diminishing as they proceed and finalize everything. So looking forward, and not to give away the total story, but there will be a surplus for 2024 that we'll be happy to report to council. So we're doing very well financially as a municipality. I'm very proud of that. If there's any questions, Mr. Chair, on this section of the report, be pleased to respond to them.
Any questions, Council? Please proceed.
Thank you. The next section is Community and Recreation Services, Q1 report. And of course, this is a fairly large department with a number of different divisions. So you have the report on the Omniplex and the Community Center. And some highlights there is the number of hours that have been sold of time has certainly in January was 400 and almost 50 hours of time. So that is significant. The facility is being very well used. Of course, we also had, I think it's in here. Yes, a special event, Hunters Make-A-Wish came true. So that was a fabulous event and really brought the community together. Ricochet Oil Corp Aquatic Center. Highlight there was a junior lifeguard swim meet. And certainly, again, very proud of our facility and being able to host that. The Silver 70s program has had a resounding response, and I'm very, very happy with that. It's struck a chord in the community for sure. Facility maintenance. Of course, late January or late December and January, we had this terrific cold spell, and it put a lot of stress on a lot of facilities and kept the facilities maintenance staff very, very busy, but they responded. We had no major setbacks as a result of that. Early Childhood Development Center. Council has been dealing with this issue since the announcement by the provincial government, the funding. And council did approve last Wednesday the change in the fee schedule. So we thank council for that. Community services, of course, they're work closely with the Drayton Valley and District Community Learning Association to address space needs. So we're looking at options in terms of dealing with that particular issue. The homelessness capacity. Certainly the emergency shelter has been very well used, and we have the statistics there. We had, I believe, one night during that period, we had some difficulties and it was not operational, but that situation was addressed and corrected very quickly. So very pleased with that. And community outreach program has been a huge benefit with our outreach worker who's been dealing, and certainly there was one high profile individual approved for income support. So that's really a huge step forward for that individual and a success for the program. And also 2 other notable individuals were assisted in relocating to a community that better suited and served their needs. So again, success there in helping people on that particular path. Our affordable housing and urban housing program, our recreation fee assistance program, youth advisory committee. And again, I thank Ms. Thompson for presenting on the town budget to the youth committee, which was very well received. And we had one of the members of their board actually take home the entire municipal budget to study it. So there may be a future counselor in the meeting. And Drayton Valley and District Family and Community Support Services got a number of programs, been very successful. The Snow Angels, our effort, Disconnect, Connect with your family, community resort directories, and our tax filling in, tax return filling in service. We got Seniors Mobile Outreach, Seniors Newsletter, FCSS Grant Program, Canada Day, and a number of upcoming items as well. So a very, very busy department, to say the very least. Be pleased to stop at that point and answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Harrison. Yes, lots happening there. Any questions from council? Go ahead, Rick.
Just a general question. What's the Alive 55 program compared to the Silver 70s? Is the 70s one free use and the Alive 55 partial payment or, anyway, I'm just curious.
One programs and gym programs, like training programs and stuff like that is, I believe what a Live 55 is. So we get
Okay.
a grant from FCSS. FCSS through provincial funds gives a grant to our rec department, and then they administer a program for seniors.
Okay,
So
so those would be,
this is access, but like
Right.
access to the facility, but a Live 55 would be programming, so.
special programs that we put on. Are they free for the seniors or?
So, but I don't want to say for sure
Okay.
exactly how it works, but I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
For certain criteria, I'm not sure.
Yeah, the funding from FCSS.
Correct, yeah.
Okay, and that's fine. I just wanted kind of a general understanding there.
Okay.
Go ahead, Colin.
The one thing I was going to ask about was, how's our golf committee going?
Oh,
Got
it's
it all
going
planned
very
out?
well. We've had two meetings now. The next one's coming up in April. I think we've got the list of all of the businesses that are going to be approached for sponsors. The golf course is booked and the sponsorship letters, I think, have been prepared and ready to be sent out. We're targeting April 1st to launch the very active campaign and to generate interest and support. But great support and cooperation from the county on this. Councillor Westerland and Councillor Gunderson are both active on it. And we had an extra volunteer, Councillor Evans. And so I think we're making great progress. And so,
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think maybe voluntold was. But actually, Colin and I were just having a bit of a discussion about the golf tournament, I don't know, a few days ago. And I don't know if this is too much of a concern or not, but we've kind of divvied up the three groups that we're looking at. One of them is the Stollery. And when we were kind of kicking it around, just from a couple of conversations you'd had with some businesses around town, they were, I think that the businesses that were approaching in town would like to see the money stay in the community. Now, that's not a hit on the Stollery by any means, and I know that we wanted to include the Stollery so we could more easily attract donations from companies outside of the community. Just wondering if you think that's and I know we've already kind of pulled the trigger. I'm sure letters are already together and stuff, but do you think that's a big concern? And I'm kind of throwing that at anybody who wants to make a comment on that. Or do you think that maybe we've made a mistake by including the Stollery and not keeping it 100% in the community? Just a point of discussion.
Mr. Chair, through the chair to Councillor Evans and all members of the committee, it's not too late for the committee to reconsider. And I think it's really based on community input. We're doing this to raise funds for groups within the community. And if that's a signal that we're getting, I think we should be paying attention to it. Of course, we want to make this a huge success in its inaugural year so that it continues to grow, raises money, for worthwhile charitable organizations in our community. So I think we can review that based on that input at the next committee meeting, which is coming up by, I think, April. I can't remember a date. Do you know? April 3rd. So, yes.
Go ahead, Justine.
She wanted Stollery and she didn't think she'd get a sponsorship from the larger external organization. So that was just her.
Yeah.
But it's worthwhile having that discussion and then let the committee, and it was left up to the elected officials to make that determination, not to administration. So.
Okay,
I'll just say, I mean, that was just some brief conversations. They weren't super in depth. It was just people saying, I hope that money stays in the community. I mean, I am all for the Stollery. My little nephew wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the Stollery. So
Yeah.
I support it. But yeah, I mean, the sentiment I got was just, I hope it stays in the community. So, maybe it's something you ask in those letters is, would you be okay with?
Mhm. Thank
Just
you
for
very
my
much for that advice and feedback.
Right.
Appreciate that.
sorry, just for my understanding, so it's third and third and third?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe we even look at the way it's divvied up or something. Maybe we go a little more heavier weighted to the local stuff and a 40-40-20 split or something. But again, we can have that conversation at the committee. I just kind of wanted to throw that out there while we were all here, see
Yeah.
what the thoughts were.
And I know the Hospital Foundation is one of the local groups being supported. And I think it was the Women's Shelter, if I remember correctly, was the third group that would be supported. So
Okay,
majority of the money will stay in. So
Right. Yeah.
at least 67% may be increased, but
okay.
great.
Thank you for that. Is there anything else from your end, Mr. Vincent, or is that?
Just a couple more reports. So we got
Okay.
your municipal operations first quarter report. So you have the executive summary, the wastewater, public works, parks, landfill engineering, and the asset management
Mhm.
divisions all covered. And it's been, I would comment steady progress in maintaining essential municipal services related to all aspects. While challenges such as weather disruptions and staff constraints arose, those were mitigated through proactive planning and operational adjustments. So did quite a bit of snow plowing.
Mhm.
I think staff are to be commended on the particular jobs that they did. And I know I had signed some snow bans a couple of times to allow for proper snow removal in the downtown area. So next report is Protective Services first quarter report. And again, the highlights there, aerial ladder truck, procuring that through RMA, the canoe. So hoping for saving costs as well as for an earlier delivery date. Otherwise, we're waiting 2 to 3 years. Certainly our firefighters are being well trained. We have a student firefighter program. And we've had some staff changes with Carla Roy returning. Her being awarded the King Charles III Medal here last Wednesday. So very excited. Enforcement services continue to be proactive in the community. And certainly emergency management with spring coming. Happy to see some extra snow on the ground, but the conditions reportedly are quite dry in the forest. So April and May rains will be much welcome. And finally, growth services and planning department first quarter report is included. So we highlight the education and career opportunities, economic development and diversity. We include the stats for the year end with regards to business licenses, development permits, and building permits. And I'm going to ask staff to add one more column to these reports, and that's the total amount of the assessment for these particular permits. I think that'd be a very interesting stat that gives council a good finger on the pulse of what's happening in community. Well, you've had 5, business licenses. How much did that generate? You've had 7 commercial development permits. What's the total value of that. So it's a measurement of progress that we're enjoying through all of this. So with that, very pleased. I thank all of the staff for their hard work and presenting these detailed reports. It gives council really an insight without trying to drag you into administration. The 100 different things the CAO does on a daily basis and all of the activity that staff are involved in operating the municipality on a day-to-day, week-to-week and month-to-month basis. So hope council appreciates the report. And again, if there's any further questions or comments, love to respond to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vincent. The town and the council for sure appreciates what administration does day to day to keep going, keeping our town going here. Any questions from council? Oh, sorry, go ahead, Colin.
One thing I didn't see in here was street sweeping. I thought we did a fantastic job last year of keeping on top of that. I know we want to wait till snow's gone but I guess obviously before we start, painting lines and sealing cracks and all that stuff, we're going to get out there sweeping.
Mr. Chair, I had recommended and spoke with the general manager of municipal operations. My experience in other municipalities is that instead of doing the wear and tear in early spring on the street sweepers, we actually get a water truck and spray down the streets and wash off the gravel. Much of it goes into the storm drains, but we have the vac truck that we have to clean out the storm drains anyway. So it will speed up the process and reduce costs and wear and tear on the machinery. So we might be experimenting this with that approach. And if you see the major cities in the US, this is their approach too. So if you ever are up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning in New York City and you see these trucks coming down with the spray off the side, just washing down the streets and washing it into the curb and into the storm sewer, do a fantastic job. Makes the place look clean very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Ricky, looks like you have a question.
So I don't know, that seems counterintuitive to me, sir. Shoving all that material into our stormwater system. I realize that the catch basins are made to entrap that material, but that's a lot of material. Interesting. I guess I won't put Shelley on the spot and try and get something going there by asking what she thinks of that, but you guys can work that out. That just seems counterintuitive to me. Anyway, my real question is, so I took a walk down my block yesterday, and that piece of sidewalk that was done the year that I came on council, and I complained that it had just been laid down, and months later, about a third of it was cracked. You walk down that half a block now and the entire thing is opening up. There's a gap of probably a ½ inch down there isn't one panel that isn't cracked. So I know that I beat on this drum a little bit in the past, Shelley, and asked about upgrading our design requirements, if we need to put some steel in our sidewalks, or we need to look at taking out the base, digging out the base and putting a new base in there. But I think that's an ideal sort of example of the work just not being good enough. And I'm not looking to necessarily look for somebody to blame that it happened, but I think it's a good example where you could say, take Parkway over there and say, okay, you guys did this 3 years ago. Look at what's happened. It needs to be replaced. It's worse than the 40-year-old stuff down the block. And again, I don't necessarily, I'm not trying to put the blame on anybody, but I think it's something that I just hate to see us spend that money on that infrastructure when it's kind of being band-aided a little bit, I guess, or it's not, I don't know what the compressive strength that we spec is for the concrete. I don't think there was any steel went in there. But with those rolled curbs, people are forever rolling up on the sidewalk when they park. And I think we need to, if we're going to go with that curb profile, we need to think about what that sidewalk's got to support. And that's, I'm sure, why it's cracking. Just people pull up to park and that side gets that pressure. And now it's the whole thing. The whole half a block is garbage now. So anyway, if we haven't updated or we haven't looked at a design standard, say from, I know the city of Edmonton, they require a significant rebar throughout their sidewalk, and I know it's more expensive, but anyway, go ahead, Shelley.
Sure, yes. However, since I've been in the position, we have taken it as a spec.
Okay.
So it's the rebar and friction joints.
Sure.
Try some different tactics and, but.
Okay.
The street to have a peek at trouble with that.
Yeah. I mean, I watched them do it and I don't think there was any steel in there, but yeah, I mean, for it to last 3 years and then not one panel still be holding together is not good enough in the end. So if
Meeting. Pictures of kind of.
gotcha.
Especially if you don't have the.
Right. Okay. And do we have a warranty? Okay. Yeah. Well, I think that's reasonable to expect a concrete sidewalk to last 2 years is not unreasonable. Okay. Sounds like you got it under control. I just, unfortunately noticed it the other day and I thought, wow, it's the whole piece. There's not one that isn't snapped in half there. So again, even just to show the contractor that, this is what we're dealing with. So tighten it up. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any questions from Monica? Councillor Sheriffs?
Sorry, it takes me a while to get my speaker on. I'd like to ask about the incident with the dog in the lobby over by the library. If maybe we would consider putting up signs that there is no pets allowed in our building.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, through the chair to Deputy Mayor of Sheriffs, the sign is already up in the door. I happened to be out the front this morning enjoying a cigarette and I saw the sign and I was amazed how quick it's been responded to. So the sign says no animals allowed in the building. I think we need to also remind ourselves that anybody with a assistance animal, like a seeing eye dog, those would be permitted, but any ordinary pets are not permitted in the building. So that's been looked after, Deputy Mayor.
Okay, great. I appreciate that. From previous conversation with Cody, our peace officer, I understand that some of the unhoused claim that their pets are support animals, but unless they are papered, I still don't think they should be allowed, even with the claim of them being support animal.
Through the chair to Deputy Mayor Sheriffs, you are indeed right that there is a process and a procedure by which an individual gets recognized for support animals. And though you can make a claim, and I know when I had a puppy or a kitten or whatever, it was a support animal for me. But that's not it's not recognized in the context of what is legally recognized as a support animal. So I agree with that position.
Okay, yeah, great. Thank you very much for that information.
Thank you, Deputy Sheriffs. I guess we have, I believe, ETGM 2 here, but what we'll do, we'll take a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back and go out to our closed session here.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will reconvene the meeting at 10:59 a.m. Can a councillor make a motion to go back to closed session, please? Oh, thank you, Councillor Evans.
Make the motion, the council move into closed session at, sorry, what time did you have there?
11 now,
Sorry,
11 o'clock, 10:59.
10:59, in accordance with VoIP section 16(1), 3I,
Right, aye.
and I.
Thank you. Yes, we do. All in favor? Monica?
Yes.
Thank you. Full service. Okay, we will convene the meeting to order at 12:34, if you're okay with that, Nathan? To go? Okay, perfect. Thank you. And we have I guess we are still in closed. Why should we, it took us out, right? It's okay. So we are good. Thank you for reminding that. So we are going to 3.2 EPAC expansion phase 2. I believe it's Mr. Vincent.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Further to the closed session with the EPAC this morning, administration believes that the next step is expression of support of the EPAC expansion with the expectation that project group will conduct public consultation and present to council for further discussion and decision regarding the approval of the presented project. And this version of the expansion project takes up the full green space and eliminates the sidewalk and any public passage through. So I did have a discussion with the presenters outside the chambers after their presentation, outlined our expectations. So as Ms. Whaley has indicated, town will support them in mailing out the notices to all of the appropriate businesses. Oh, wow, at 4:30 this afternoon. Now that's administration working quickly. And I've also suggested that they invite people to an open house there in the foyer of the theater. Just if there's anybody else in the public who is interested, right? There you go. You know all of that already. So we will have a report to council at the first regular meeting in April, given that the open house will follow next week's council meeting. So we'll be prepared to have a recommendation to council and the feedback from the open houses and the public consultation at that time.
Okay, thank you for that. Any questions or comments about? Okay, Council Clark.
So from administration's perspective, is their proposal the only option? And I guess what I'm getting at there is, do they have to go south? Is there an option to go west? And alter the back alley that's used there, alter the parking lot that's there? I know that that's not part of the proposal, but is that an option for them?
Mr. Chair, through the chair to Councillor Clark and all members of the committee, I don't believe any further options than what was been presented in plan this morning as part of their package has been considered. To narrow up the building, I think complicates things for themselves. But I think we'll wait until we receive the public input. And if there seems to be a strong pushback from the public, then I think we need to look at other options possibly to accommodate that expansion.
Okay.
West would be possible. The water line is right there. And the sewer line, so they would be putting the building directly over top of our main system. And that would be highly.
On the back alley there? Okay. Options. Okay, thank you for that. Any other questions? Rick, you have any comments? Okay. Monica, you have any comments or questions?
Hi, thanks. No, I'll just wait to, because I have asked EPAC if they have had a public consultation with the neighbors, probably about 2 years ago, and we haven't heard anything back about that. So I'll just wait to hear the response about the public input.
Okay, thank you for that. I believe that conclude that 3.2 then, Mr. Vincent. Okay, then we can move on to 3.3, developer options update. Oh, Jocelyn. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So in consultation with both the developer interested and with our lawyers, if we wish to move ahead with the joint venture, we're not going to make the timeline for when we would like shovels in the ground. The main issue is that the company we have currently, BioArc, is set up on a not-for-profit component, and with the passive income that could be earned at the 25%, we are unable to go that route without setting up a new corporation, which, based on the legal requirements and timelines outlined in the memo attached to your agenda, would take us through past the shovels in the ground season. And so what we are suggesting for now is to do, well, we're asking for direction to work with the developer to negotiate a vendor take-back agreement to bring to council for approval. This would mean that we would contribute the portion of land required into the facility. If we still wanted the ground floor for anything municipal, library, office, daycare, it doesn't matter, we could do that and condominiumize it, and then that would be a portion of removing a portion of what we have vended in, or we could lease it. So in the interim, just a vendor take-back agreement would be the simplest, with no worry about underneath. We can get to that later as we possibly head towards building another MCC. But what I'm seeking is permission for the CAO and I to get into negotiations with the developer to bring back a full agreement for you.
Okay, thank you for that. Any questions? I do have one. I was thinking about the full proposal and also about our priorities that, we were talking about, public engagement, having the committee know what we are doing. I believe that now we are working with one developer for this project, but we haven't engaged the rest of the community or the developer community per se, to say that, these kind of options are out there. Would you think that would be, even with your door to, what was it?
Dirt to door.
Sorry, dirt to door approach, having clearly mentioned that what kind of incentives that we are prepared to give out, and having that out there, maybe local developers might be interested on something like that.
So to the chair, several pronged answers to that one.
Okay.
In the case of this actual development, the developer still plans on doing community outreach, as he explained to you when he came, for this particular portion of that location. In the case of the remainder of the location, we do intend to bring this up with suggestions at the Dirt to Door breakfast, which is all local members of the development community. For anyone who doesn't know what it is, anywhere from people who own the land to earth movers, trades, builders, everything will be, is invited. We have 100 invitations, 50 of which are going to be personally hand delivered. So we're hoping that that's very successful. And in regards to the incentives, we hope before the Dirt to Door breakfast to have first reading in front of council for the business incentive bylaw that we have discussed, the originally called Growth Ad Hoc Committee. So we're bringing the Economic Development Officer and the General Manager of Corporate Services have met on that, and I'm going over some of the changes and suggestions on how we can incent business, not just new, but in the case of expansion or renovations of current and existing. So,
Right. Not only that, if I may, it's about, again, developers, right? So there's a developer that we are working with, but there may be other developers in the community or outside of community would like to do something similar. Then we would have to kind of lay that playing field, level that playing field that, everybody get the opportunity if they want to, right? If not, again, it's about letting the committee know and public engagement and all of that. So
yes, and again, to the chair, I believe that will also be assisted when the realtor, we've had a lot of going out in the paper recently, so we have not had a chance to get the RFQ for the realtor into the rotation. Very busy community, so we are hoping for the next week's intake to have the realtor RFQ be able to make it out so we can then post it to APC and the other locations in order to advertise for that, which will help in assisting, letting people know that it's here and available and what we can offer.
okay, thank you.
Also, Mr. Chair, if I might respond as well. Council's identified the urgency to deal with some matters. And certainly, it's sort of striking when the iron is hot. There hadn't been a lot of interest locally in terms of development. And certainly when a developer comes to town and wants to act quickly, though we may be a partner in that in a joint venture by supplying a portion of the land. We're not supplying all of the land. We're not tying up the entire site. So it gives a lot of opportunity for local developers if they're interested, or a local business community if they're interested in partnering with the town on the development of the rest of the site. So we're still going to have about 65% of that entire site available. I know that planning has been approached by a couple of different groups already about potential interest in there. And so I think that will be the segue to how we deal with this first developer, setting the stage for how we develop with all the developers.
Okay. Any comments or questions, Monica?
Hi. No, I'm in favor of this project moving forward. So, yeah, let's do whatever it takes.
Okay, thank you for that. So I guess the next step would be, Mr. Vincent, is to bring this to a council decision. Okay. Thank you. I believe that concludes that 3.3 development options update. So now we can move on to council items. 4.1 upcoming meetings and/or conferences. March and April council calendar. Is there anything that need to report?
So, Mr. Chair, members of council, we hopefully have got all the commitments and meetings. So if there's anything we've overlooked or you want to make note of that should be added to the calendars, that's the balance of the month of March and for the month of April.
I don't have anything from my end. Anybody? Okay.
Nothing from me, nothing that I can really think of right now.
Thank you.
That means we're doing a pretty good job.
Excellent. You are. Okay, so that means we can.
It's on the next Thursday, 27th.
Okay, we can probably move to the roundtable discussions then. Anything happened within the last 3 weeks that council or the administrations would like to bring to discussion? Yeah, about because Shelley's here, I can probably ask this question. The 50th Avenue, next phase, when is it kind of slated to get going? And,
Come down, speaking.
sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for the question, Chair. So we just got confirmation from ADCO that they're just kind of buttoning up their agreements with everybody impacted. And so they're hoping to start construction on the gas line move by May, early May. And then to have we'll be able to shut down the road at the end of June once school is done. There is concerns about the Canada Day Parade, but we've had discussions about like rerouting it because we're going to have that intersection at 43rd Street and 50th Ave closed. There's approximately 6 weeks of reconstruction work to take place and only 8 weeks to do it. So we're going to be pushing it, but it's still moving. And I just got that update this week. So.
Okay, thank you for that. Excellent, thank you. Any other questions? Mr. Vincent? No, okay, so then we'll move on to items for future meetings. Probably not a whole lot there either. That means we come to the most important item on the agenda. The adjournment. It is 12:49 PM and we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Awesome.